Here's the deal. The reason why tickets were so cheap, it was Shawn Michaels' hometown. He was originally going to have dropped the WWF title to Vader and then win it back in his hometown. But then when Shawn got so fucking pussy and pissy about working with Leon, because Leon jerked him around and beat him up, which is basically what he did to everybody, because that was Vader, they had the SummerSlam match and things drew to a close shortly thereafterwards.
Shawn as champion.
Great in the ring and horrible for business. Not only, I won't say he didn't draw, but he was horrible for business as far as doing business. Because how many times did he drop the thing once he won it? Did he lose his smile? Was he fucking upset about something? Was he cranky that week? Was his asshole bleeding? Was her asshole bleeding that week? With Jose, that was Bruce Pritchard, as I recall, came up with that. It was supposed to be the Rocky Burgess Meredith thing.
Yeah.
And actually that tied into the original idea with Vader, that Vader would, Vader bomb fucking poor Jose, and and Shawn would cry over his mentor, and it'd be that touching moment. Jose did train Shawn. Jose broke Shawn into business. Shawn did not want him in the ring with him. And I don't know why. He never actually came out and said it. You could just tell it because he would turn away from him. He didn't put him over. There was never that father-son relationship. There was never that genuine feeling. He ignored him half the time and yelled at him a few times.
Didn't want to share the spotlight.
Well, like the 65-year-old manager and the fucking 35-year-old fat manager on the other side are going to steal the spotlight from him. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? But anyway, it never worked. So, I felt bad for Jose, but it didn't work. A bunch of people were pissed, including all the agents, the Jerry Briscoes, the Jim Rosses, the people in the Bruce's, Vince himself, some way or another, because at the same time that Shawn was pissed off about something, he conveniently got this knee injury and couldn't drop this fucking belt, which you see was a 2-hour live USA special. The Thursday Raw, because Raw was off on Monday for whatever fucking reason.
Now, the losing the smile, that's become such a funny catchphrase when we talk about that. Was that Michaels, or was he given that?
At that point, most of the shit that you heard Shawn Michaels say was either the stuff he was supposed to talk about using his own words, or just sometimes just shit that he just wanted to say. And half the time when Raw was on tape, the interview might go 12, 13, 14 minutes, and 6 of it would air because they just let him get it out of his system because it wasn't going to fucking show. But the whole Degeneration X thing sort of came out of that because he was jacking off. He was jacking off with everybody's fucking livelihood and the company, and he didn't give a shit. And so they just made a group of jack-offs based on a guy who was already jacking off. And that's why I never was a fan.
Boy, now this is Shawn. He's coming back. The smile is back, perhaps. I don't know. He's back. Now he must have come back to a ton of heat.
Oh yeah,
from at least Office.
Oh well, it was just Vince would coddle. That's one thing I used to fucking blow my gasket about to Bruce Pritchard. What the fuck? I've never been to a place where the top talent had so much leeway, not only creatively, which could be a good thing, and the power of good in the right hands, but also could get away with shit that, it just didn't happen in the other place Bill Watts or Dusty Rhodes. It didn't happen with those people that I'd worked, but it was a different atmosphere. And, Shawn kept a lot of heat with people. When the next year at WrestleMania with the match with Austin and Tyson, soon as Taker was finished, he went back, he taped his fists, sat right down at gorilla position and watched the monitor to watch Shawn drop the title to Austin. And provided everything went the right way, that was all that was going to happen, and everything went the right way. And as soon as 1, 2, 3, ding, 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 he stood up, started pulling his tape off, and went and changed. Because Undertaker cared about business and the rest of the boys rather than his own fucking little meager self. Shawn, hi. Born again. Was not in favor the first time. You were always a prick to me. I just want to remind you of that. Anyway, so... Wow.
Give me the whole story about the fight.
Michaels is 0 for life on any kind of fucking real fight. The Harris boys, I think it was Ron watched the door and Don watched the door and Ron grabbed him by the neck and held him up to his feet. We're going wee, wee, wee in the garden on their last day. And the Marine beat him up, or the 9 Marines or 1 Marine, depending on the story. Actually, Davey Boy Smith was with him, but they had a 2-door rental car. And where the seat flips up, and you get in the back seat, Davey, as big as he was in the back seat with the seat on him, and he couldn't get out to save Shawn's fucking little rabbit ass. But anyway, we're there at Hartford for Raw, and I've come out of one of the offices. I've been making some notes or whatever, and here comes Steve Lombardi, Brooklyn Brawler. Holy shit, Shawn and Brett just got in a fight. I mean, what the fuck? Come to find out, apparently Lawler is in the locker room, in the stall in the toilet taking a shit. And he's got his tights down around his ankles, and he hears, I don't know whether Brett was in the room and Shawn walked in or the other way around, but one of them said something to the other one. The other, I think probably Shawn opened his mouth first, usually. But I don't want to ascribe quotes to people. I don't know what was said. But it was like, oh yeah, yeah, and all of a sudden you hear boom, boom, boom. Now Lawler's sitting on the toilet with shit on his ass. And he said, whoa, 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 they've gone down and they're scrapping. He's like, well, shit, what the fuck? And he gets his fucking tights out. I don't know, the history is not recorded whether the king wiped first. And he tries to get him separated, and somebody else is hurt, and then Brawler's running around. So I come out to see Brawler, right? He's still wide-eyed. So I immediately turn around while he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I go to Vince's office, and as I open the door, Vince is all by himself, right? He's sitting there writing in his book that looks just like this one. I said, Vince, apparently Shawn and Brett have just had a shoot in the fucking locker room. And as soon as I say that, the door buzzes open, and here comes Michaels in, cutting a fucking promo, and he's got a handful of his hair. I swear to God, it looked like a small squirrel or a possum or whatever that Brett is apparently put. He's like, God damn it, this bullshit. And I wish, just the sight of him holding his hair I was on the inside laughing, right? So I wish I'd committed to memory the exact verbiage, but basically I did hear the phrase, it's unsafe for me to work here, which apparently he had already fucking thought of as his next reason to lose his smile and leave. And he throws the hair fucking down on the floor and he fucking storms out, and Vince gets up and follows him. And I've never told this story publicly, but it still tickles me to this day. I looked at that fucking hunk of hair. I said, this is fucking great. When I go home to who's now my ex-wife, but I said, I gotta have a visual aid, and I picked that up and stuck it in a fucking paper bag and took the hair home. I said, look at this. When I got home, I said, they went down, they had the fucking scuffle, blah, 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 and look at this fucking hunk of hair. And she put it in a plastic bag and kept it. It was like the ultimate wrestling souvenir. And then, of course, I haven't seen her in a while, so don't know where it's at. But if it pops up on eBay, it could be legitimate. Well, now it won't be, because now somebody will come up with a fake head of hair in a fucking bag. But anyway, yeah, they fucking couldn't stand each other. But
it's not in the closet, the hair?
No. I didn't keep the hair. Obviously, as a worker, Shawn Michaels was without peer. Helmsley at the time, Hunter, Triple H, whatever they call him these days, was very good and was very inexperienced. He'd been in business, 3 or 4 years, from Kowalski to WCW briefly, and then here. But he was better at learning the backstage manipulations, apparently, than the in-ring category. I didn't have a problem with them as a tag team. I didn't like the whole, didn't get the whole, didn't want to see the whole Degeneration X fucking thing. Oh, grab the crotch, point at your dick, chop the crotch, suck it, fuck you, piss off. Guys going out, they jacked off about the angles. They jacked off, they didn't take anything seriously. I know that's part of their appeal, but it also in the process buried a lot of the other talent. buried a lot of the issues. They were too worried about getting themselves over, which is the same thing that whole group's always been worried about, getting themselves over and getting, if I'm the promoter, my business over, or the business over, or the company over, or anybody else over. And that's fine, because they're in a business for themselves, but I don't know why they were allowed to do it and encouraged to do it by the company that they were jacking off on their time. I don't get it.
It would make sense that Bulldog might retain the title.
That
there
would have made
with
some sense,
the
wouldn't it?
mother and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now, is this a Michaels power play?
Sure it was. And as a matter of fact, I remember a little bit better about this than I do other things, because just the egregiousness of they had told Davey, yeah, you're going to win the title in England. And then by the time it came up, Shawn had some way or another, I don't know whether he refused to drop it or whether this was a time where he'd come up with some story that it was just more advantageous for him to keep it. But he can't even go to fucking Birmingham because he and Brett hate each other so bad. Since Davey's on Brett's side, in front of the guy's family in a fucking English pay-per-view, and the hometown babyface can't even win. If I'd have been Davey, because Davey was more than capable of doing it, I would have just knocked him the fuck out and just fucking won it and said, fuck all of you on my way out, with my mother and everybody there. But he was very professional and fucking did the job for the little prick that he could beat like that. Because, once again, Shawn had a problem. Shawn had an issue.
And Vince goes along with all this. Why?
I don't fucking know. Okay, back here, after the curtain call, the WrestleMania in 1996, the WrestleMania payoffs are being figured, right? And he sent Kevin Nash and Scott Hall had already gone. They'd already left the company when the checks came out 3 months later, after the curtain call, after fucking lying to Vince and saying, we're staying with you. And then one of them called and one of them faxed in a fucking resignation after they'd been in front of him personally 2 days earlier at television. And he gave Nash a fucking incredible payoff, same thing as Undertaker made, and he gave Hall an incredible payoff, same thing as Goldust made. He said, I don't want anybody to ever say that I fucked him on the way out. I said, fuck me like that. And he catered to, and for a guy who was a control freak and who had so many idiosyncrasies, he would let the top guys get away with fucking murder politically, and I never got it. And Bruce couldn't explain it to me. Russo couldn't explain to me a goddamn zipper, so I never got it.